Hello, hello, hello. I am so excited. One more time. I'm always excited about these lives, but today I'm like doubly, triply excited. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're calling us from or joining us from. I have a special guest today, but you guys know the drill. As always, I just reintroduce myself in case this is the first time popping up on your screen. My name is Bolanle Williams-Olley. I am CFO and co-owner of Mancini Duffy, which is an architecture and interior design firm based out in New York City, and also the author of Build Boldly. Yay! In celebration of my book's launch, which launched November 4th, 2021, we have been curating and having incredible conversations with impactful, influential leaders from across all industries. So it is the We Build Boldly conversations. And today I am, I don't even know. Today I am so excited to have my personal mentor, my big sister. She is the CEO of ACT Foundation, Osayi Alile. Oh my God. I'm going to let Osayi introduce herself, but let me just tell you who Osayi is to me. I mean, I gave you a little snippet, but Osayi really is the first woman boss leader. You know, when we were just coming up in our careers, Osayi is the first person that I saw that gave me a lot of inspiration. It was a woman who was in a leadership position that I could look up to. Osayi has always made strides in her own path. She is my definition of a leader who has built boldly for a long time. Before the word boss lady, C-suite existed, Osayi is one who has walked. She has not just talked the talk, but she has walked the walk. And that's why it was very, very important for me to bring her on here today. So I'm going to keep quiet. I want Osayi to just tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your path, what you're doing now, and then we'll go into our topic, which is Be Generous, so chapter 7 of my book, and you will see why she's the one that I picked to focus on Be Generous. Osayi, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Bolanle. I'm so happy to be here and excited as well. I'm trying to see what else can I add. I mean, I've enjoyed my career, and I keep on telling people I'm just starting, and so
Wow.
still in chapter 1, maybe going to chapter 2. So we'll see how it goes from there.
Ha. So then the
But
rest of us, where are we? Hey.
I've gone for that. So but because you just feel to yourself that because from where I'm coming from, I mean, I've been in a career that when we started, especially because we're based in Nigeria, in Africa, it was something that people were not sure about. I mean, what are you going to do? Non-profit work? I mean, what's that? Is it a career? Everybody else was farther away than we were. We didn't see it like a career. But I knew for a certain that it was something I needed to do. I was very excited about it. I went to school for it. So it was not out of my path. But I also saw where it was going to take me to. That's the honest truth. Because I was a banker when I started my life. So when I came back and I wanted to go into the non-profit space, it was like, I mean, do they pay people there? What do they do there? All I knew was I wanted to be the best at it. I just knew that when people talk about women leaders in the space, they will always mention my name. And not in any arrogant way, just in the sense that I knew what I was doing, and I enjoyed what I was doing as well. And then when I was looking for people at that time that maybe were in the space that were doing well, I couldn't really find many people.
Yeah.
So I must be an example. I just kept on saying in my mind, and this was when I was just starting. I was like, oh, I must be an example. So I mean, I've just kind of gone on that chat and that course and just pushed myself out there. It's been a very extremely interesting journey. And now, we're surrounded by quite a number of women that are in the sector doing well. And I mean, something I talk about all the time. I've worked with quite a number of people, those I see, those I don't see. I try and reach out to them one way or the other. But it's been a very interesting journey. It's been a very interesting journey. But if I can tell you, like 15 years ago, 20 years ago, I expected to be here, I'll tell you I'm not too sure. I just knew that it was going to work out one way or the other. But I made deliberate steps. I went back completely, going back, retraining myself, schooling myself, getting acquainted not only to the sector, but to all the other sectors that are important, the government, private sector. So a lot of nonprofits kind of stay in the sector, but I mean, I know people in the private sector, I know people in government. I make sure that all the triads, nothing is missing. Because I always tell people that once something is missing in the triad, then you're going to have a problem at the end of the day. So that's really my journey.
Oh my gosh. And I think for those of us, who have been privileged to see it up close, as well as, folks who are watching from the sidelines and watching from the be, not so close to you, it has been incredible watching your journey unfold. And you've essentially lived out loud in terms of your career, right?
Yeah,
Like we've seen the steps that you've made, we've seen the
yeah,
pivots that you've made. I think even before things were being shared on social media back then, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, seeing you
yeah,
in the papers, right? You've always been relatable. You've always
yeah,
been someone that we can look up to. Like I said, for me, being in for profit, but I still saw you as a leader who was engaging different stakeholders, as you've mentioned, whether it be in government, whether it be in the private sector. I've always seen that, and so it's given us and other, I'm very sure many of us have the same story, but you've always been just such a light for us to look up to, for us to connect with. So I appreciate it. I did
thank
have
you
one
for
question though, because you
mm,
had said that you first started off in banking, and then you knew you wanted
yeah.
to be in this space. So I guess my question is, like, what was there deep within you? Like, why this space? Why did you want to own nonprofit space? What was the purpose that drew you into this space?
It was a let me say it was a calculated mistake.
Ah,
I never think nothing is a mistake, but it was a calculated mistake. When I was doing my masters, I started volunteering at some non-profit organization, and I was so overwhelmed by what was going on. I just kept on saying, "This is me." I'm not a. I mean, I enjoy. I'm a money person. I like finance. I enjoy it, but I knew that that was not my path. There was just something that was calling out to me in that regard. And I just said, okay, let me test the waters and see. When I come back home, let me do it for a few years. If I find an organization that's strong, I'll do it for a few years. If it doesn't work out, then I'll go back into the banking sector, because I knew that I would be able to go back easily. But I actually feel that I can work anywhere. I'm
yes,
not one of those years. I just feel that there's some fundamentals that are foundations that you build, and then everything else is you keep on piling, you keep on
got
building.
it.
Yeah, so that thing in me just, it pushed me there. Like what people will say about their different careers. Why did you choose that? It's just something that made me comfortable here, and so I was comfortable there. But I also wanted to. That was one place that I knew that I wanted to succeed so badly. So that's where the comfort comes from, because I have a very determined spirit anyway.
Yes,
And it doesn't have anything to do with it's work, everything. But I'm also surrounded by people that, I mean, even as you're saying that you're looking up to me, I see everyone, and I'm thinking to myself, I have to succeed because Bolanle is watching. This one is watching. Everybody else is watching. So one way
that's
or
a
the
very
other,
great point. Yes,
I'm just like, girl, you just have to get up and do this, regardless of how you're feeling and all that. And so it made me comfortable that, and I'm not doing it just to get praise, but I'm doing it because I want people to be sure that it can work. We as
yes,
women can succeed regardless of where we are. And I've seen it even in your life in the last few years. You can, wherever you are, there's providence, but there's also hard work and
yeah,
determination and that grit to succeed.
yes,
And when you mix everything together, it just gives you a beautiful picture. Doesn't mean that there will not be challenges,
that's
because we all
right.
face. And my challenges have been very open as well, because people have said, what happened at this time? I'm like, this is what happened because I was out there. So people saw when I went through also difficult times. But difficult times must come. It's part of life. And for you to be a leader and to be in a leadership position, difficult times must come. I must be prepared for it. And know that if it comes, how do I manage myself? And that's where people around you also help.
Yeah, and so I want to stay on this last point that you brought, right? Like, as a leader, difficult times come,
Yeah,
whether or not, it's on this large global pandemic scale that we've experienced,
exactly.
or, things are normal, right? So the world
Yeah.
is going, but maybe within your own ecosystem, there are
Yeah.
issues that have come up. So how do you, as a leader, one, persevere through those times? Two, pour out into your people, right?
Yeah.
Because you have people who are, like you said, looking up to you, not just us externally but within your organization.
Yeah.
How do you then encourage people on your teams to keep pressing forward? How do they still tie into the long-term vision that you are
Yeah.
trying to do as a leader, and as well as the organization?
I mean, leadership is really about, just as I mentioned before, just staying there regardless of what's going on. And I think for me, I stay. I'm not one of those people that say, okay, let's do this. During the pandemic, I keep on telling everybody, and it was not a big, it was just something that happened. Nobody knew what was happening. Nobody was sure what was going on. But the kind of work we do, we still had to be on the streets. We had to make sure that they were still dealing with cancer issues, maternal issues, where all the numbers were rising. So when people were calling me, I'm in Sokoto, we're in trouble. The women are giving birth. We cannot get. Are you going to sit down and say, oh, okay, when it's
Yeah.
over, we'll send you something and we'll just, PPA, I just sit down in your house. We were on the streets, we're traveling, we're working. I mean, the only thing is, of course, I was making sure that they were safe, and I wasn't, trying to make people understand that nothing stops, Bolanle, nothing stops. And especially at that time, and I'm sure it's everywhere in the world, everybody went home. So the only people that could do anything were those in the local communities.
That's right.
And so I just kept on encouraging my people that, look, these things we have to, this is what we're called to do. So we have to do. But I didn't sit at home and tell the streets. Anytime they were there, they saw me there too with my whole gear up and everything, trying to protect myself, make sure everybody was okay. But I was constantly asking them also that, are you okay? If you cannot come out, it's fine. But take myself out of that, then I tell people that, what, as you as a leader, who helps you? So that's why you have to surround yourself with good people, people that will encourage you regardless. I mean, I used to come home that time and my sister would say, are you okay? Make sure you clean, do everything outside of the house, don't bring anything in, protect yourself. So there were people that were constantly checking up on me as well. So if you don't have that system, then you find out that they're drained very easily, and there's nothing you can give. So I have to constantly up my game, up myself, up my emotion, up everything. But that's like surrounding yourself with good people as well. I'll give an example. I mean, one of the organizations I was running once, this is a few years ago, we sent a few staff on a trip to Abuja, and then there was a plane crash. 3 of my staff died in that plane crash. And I must tell you, I completely was broken, completely. If I got to the office and I didn't know what to say, I just kept on looking at everybody because everybody was broken. We knew that they were coming home on Sunday, so we expected to see them in the office on Monday. And they didn't come back. So, and these were families we were talking about. But what do you do? I went into the room, did all the crying, came out, wiped my face. Okay, what do we do next? How do we get their bodies? How do we talk to the family? So, I mean, I could go home and get someone to tell me, Osayi, it's going to be okay. No matter how you're feeling now, it's going to be okay. But in front of them and everybody else, I had to be strong. And so you have to constantly say to yourself, what do I do well? What do I do better? It's not always easy.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want to fall down, just cry and lock the door and say, I'm not coming out today. But what can you do? Because you
Yes.
have to keep on moving. Yeah.
You have to keep on moving, but I like that because it's also showing that we're human, right? Just because we're in
Definitely.
these positions, or our career paths have led us to all these, our C-suite titles, we are still human. We still feel, we still have to process these things.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
And your humanness must show. Molani,
Yes.
you have to be authentic to yourself. I'm a very strong person, but I'm also very emotional. And people that know me in my office, they know that. I can come in, I'm like, oh, what happened? What? After a while, I'm just okay, so what do we do next? And I solve the problem. So, I mean, you have to also, everybody's different, and we all deal with things in different manners. And so you have to be authentic to yourself. And I think also from the beginning, I've decided not to walk on anybody's path from the very beginning. I don't care what Bolanle is doing, what anybody else
Yep.
is doing. I'm on my own path, and I just keep on going and managing myself. Take a few stop bumps here and there, but I get up and just keep on moving. And once you do that and you're authentic, it makes it easier because people know
Yeah.
this is who you are. I know people that have worked with me 15 years ago. They say, this is how Osayi was 15 years ago. And she has not changed. They will be laughing, but that's who I am. And they can see and you can prove yourself daily. And I say, I do not even know it all. And I don't. It's impossible for you to know everything. So I always
Yes.
surround myself with people that are smarter, wiser, that can lock the door and come into my office and say, oh, sorry, this is not going to work. Let's do this way or this way. And then I listen to them and say, okay. Because I keep on saying, I cannot surround myself with people that I know everything and they cannot advise me. What's the point?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, what's the point?
Yeah, and so I like what you said also about, like, that tunnel visioning. I think like that for me was part of why, the subtitle of the book, I was like chart your unique career path, because our
Yeah.
paths are all unique to each and every
Very
single one
unique.
of us.
Yeah.
Yes, you might take inspiration, or you might see how, someone is leading, but then really go and think back. Take some awareness, like what are your strengths, like you said, what are your
Yeah.
weaknesses, who do you need to surround yourself
Exactly.
with, so
Exactly.
that everyone can leverage for the same common goal of, making our organizations or our firms or whatever project, whatever it is, making it successful. But it's by
Yeah.
the leader really really first assessing themselves, so that they
Yes.
know who
100%. Yes.
who to be around, right? You're not just
Yes.
surrounding yourself with yes people, but people who can actually challenge you and make you a better leader. So I like
100%.
that you shared that. I also heard, in what you were saying, one, you were out on the field, right? So a
Yeah.
leader is not just in their corner office
And sending instructions.
and setting instructions, but you were actually out. And I think that lets your people also just tie into that realness of who you
Yeah.
are, connect with you better. And then it just allows them show up also as themselves.
Yes.
I also heard, Osayi, the way Osayi led 15 years ago, of course, you're improving, but
Yeah.
that it speaks to your integrity. It speaks to who
Yeah.
you are. It speaks to your authenticity, right? So I love that.
Mm.
So I hope everyone, as you're listening, you're taking all these amazing tips that Osayi is dropping for us. And then I also want to, leading into my next question. You said,
Mm.
think about the people who you surround yourself with. And of
Yeah.
course, we know you've been involved in WIMBIZ, so Women
Yeah.
in Management, Business and Public Service. Congratulations on your board appointment.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you. Thank you.
this is like fresh off the press, guys. Osayi just got, I mean, she's been involved with WIMBIZ, so that's the short form of Women in Management, Business and Public Service. She's been involved,
Yeah.
but she has just recently been reappointed to the board. And for those of you who don't know, our international
Audience.
audience,
Yes.
you tell us a little bit about what WIMBIZ does. But the question I want to ask, right, is WIMBIZ, we know, helps, almost serves as a catalyst, a community for women
Yeah.
who are entering into leadership positions, right?
Yeah.
How
Yes.
did you recognize this urge to help women level up? Right? How did you see the gap within women who were, you were like, there's something in you. You need to emerge, you need to
Mm.
evolve, you need to level up. And what encouraged you to just lean fully into this organization, right? And
Yeah.
and also personally for you, how you mentored, you mentor a lot of young leaders, right? What was How did you recognize this urge to help women get to the next level?
Okay, I think it's also from where I was coming from. Remember when I mentioned I came back, there were not many women that were strong in my own field. And I kept on asking questions and I couldn't really find. So I started asking, okay, what do I do? I met Wimbi's by chance. I mean, I met, first of all, one of the founders, Mr. Ushika. She came to do some work with us where I was working then. And I started talking to her about my work, what we do, and what I'd done. She was like, oh, we just started an organization. Maybe she's just coming for one of the meetings, and it's for women. And I went there, and immediately I walked in there. I said, yes, this is where I'm supposed to be. Because I could see women that were just, and I was hearing their names. I could hear what they were doing. I was excited, very excited. And that was I mean, I never turned back since then. And that's almost now 20 years ago. But I just kind of held on to it. You see, a lot of times as women, we go into a place and we're looking for perfection.
Hmm.
I wasn't looking for perfection. I just wanted a place where I could bring some value and then I can get some value back. So, like I was, when we had the conference this week, I was talking to a few ladies, and they were like, "Oh, it's as if the place is too big. I don't know who to talk to." And I'm like, nobody's going to come and speak with you. You have to take the first step forward. You have to go and ask questions. You have to go and talk to someone. Nobody's going to come and look for you in the corner that you're sitting. Nobody moves to the corner. We all we float to the front. So one of those things, and it just made me comfortable. And I kept on hearing, we want to help, we want to serve, we want to serve, we want to serve. And I was like, this is my place to be. And I just got involved right from the beginning. And I didn't really care about anything. I just wanted to do something. So every woman I saw that was in my sector, I kept on saying, this is the best place to be. Come and join. And that's where I started in terms of the women thing. And I kept on pushing and trying to become, more, understand what the issues were in Nigeria and understand what the policies that we had and what we needed to change. So that was one of my driving forces because I just felt that the foundation on which we have built women as managers and as leaders in Nigeria was faulty. And I just felt, and I knew that I couldn't do myself. A lot of times also when we think that we're in leadership positions, we assume that we can start some things on our own. Let me just go
Mm,
and do something. But I always tell people that there's somebody else that is doing it. Why can't you join forces? I mean, make it. I knew that it's not something I could do by myself. So with this, there were already 12 women and one man. They were already stronger. They were older than I was, and they'd been in the sector longer, and in all the different sectors. So I felt that this was mainstream, more mainstream for me. So I was ready to add value and then to get value back as well. So I went with everything I had, and I did it as much as I can. I'm still doing it. I've been mentoring for so many years. I mean, I mentor even at the Lagos Business School. I've the sector. I mean, there's nobody that I don't know well that as a leader in the sector, because I just feel that we need to continuously build. Then I have a group of women leaders as well in our sector that we all meet together sometimes just to find out what the issues are, and we try and talk openly about the issues that we're dealing with and challenges that we're facing. So, I mean, we can speak truth about it and learn from each other. So I just feel that you have to lean on people.
mhm,
I rarely will walk alone with anything. You know, I just feel that you drag people, draw people in, and it makes it easier for your journey. Because we all get tired, and then sometimes someone can hold your hand, someone can pat your back, tell you it's going to be okay, send you a message. But if you walk in isolation because you feel that I'm doing so well, I'm a leader, I'm very strong. How do you build? How do you build? You
mhm,
can't be carpenter, electrician, you can't be
mhm.
everything. Yeah,
Yeah,
so you need different people, architects, you need different people to build for you.
yeah.
And I tell people you have to make sure the foundation is very strong. You can't build a 10-story building on a foundation for a bungalow, because in another year or two, when you want to move it up, the foundation is faulty. So all these things are part of what we need as individuals and as leaders to grow ourselves to the next level.
Yes, yes. Again, really good stuff. I'm hearing that we need to make sure we're plugged in. So, women, no matter what phase you are in your career, find a network to plug in. Even if you feel like it's a big organization, find people within your sector
Yeah,
that you can lean in. Of course, we can all learn from each other's different experiences and industries, but almost find your tribe within a large
yeah,
organization. You don't always have to go and set new things. I always say this to people: don't watch me. Oh, you might see me today. I have started a new She Builds Money something, but I'm
exactly.
also leaning on other people, right? that
Others,
that might not be
exactly.
that might
Mm,
not be essentially you're calling to keep on starting things, but like,
yeah,
how can you plug yourself into a structure that already exists?
yeah,
So I love that. I also love what you shared about your foundation, right? And
mm,
making sure that the foundation as you're leveling up is strong, surrounding
yeah,
yourself with great people. So one thing though I want to come back to again around the nonprofit work, right? So a lot of the things
yeah,
I share in the Be Generous chapter, right? I talk
mm,
about how generosity is like one of the most important characteristic traits to me. So you live
yeah,
a very generous life. I want us to
yeah,
just spend some time talking about that, and talking about the current work you're doing with Act Foundation, right?
yeah,
Because you see and interact with so many nonprofits, right?
yeah,
And so maybe I'm here and I'm like, oh, I have this calling, I've been really wanting to get into this space. I really want to think about how can I help? Um, how can I plug into how can I solve this problem? Let me use
yeah,
those words, right? How can I solve
mm,
this problem? So where do I even start? Right? How does someone even start if
yeah.
they're feeling overwhelmed or feeling like, oh, their drop is not going to make a huge impact in the
Yes,
future?
yes, yes, yes. I mean, a lot of people ask that question. I keep on saying that sometimes, like any other business, you start small. I feel that the non-profit space is still a business, the
Mhm.
social business. So you start as small as you want to, even if it's one person, two people, sorry. And I mean, join somebody else that's doing something already, and then begin to say, okay, what do I want to focus on? And what's important to me, even in working with someone, but you have to know what your interest is, because if you are not interested in that thing, no matter what you do, after a few years you are going to get burnt out. It's passion that keeps all of us moving and
Yeah.
waking us up in the morning saying that this is important. Maternity issues is so important, I have to continuously do it. So you just have to, you start small. You're inspired to do this thing, you want to give back, you want to do everything, and then know what you see, even in terms of business and ourselves, we all know you have to have a mission statement even for yourself.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
need to know what's your mission statement. What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve at the end of the day, and so that you can also measure it if it gets to that. So look for organizations. I mean, I'll give an example. Like in Nigeria, if you come in and say, I don't live in Nigeria, but I want to start some work in Nigeria or in Ghana or in Europe. You just say who is doing what I'm
Mm.
interested in. Find the small ones. You can volunteer. Try and see, make sure that their values also are aligned to yours. And then look for people that have worked with them before. I mean, don't go in blindly as well, so you don't make too many mistakes, and
Mhm.
so you don't take high risk. And then once your mission statement is aligned with theirs, then you can start working with them before you even start something on your own. And I tell, even if you're starting, you must still write a business plan, not
That's
copy
right.
work. Well, you have to write something down. You have to see and say, does this thing balance out at the end of the day? I mean, the numbers, do they make sense to me? I mean, it's a business. I mean, you don't want to say, okay, I have this money. So I have a lot of people come to me, oh, I just lost my father. I want to start a foundation for him. I'm just like, oh, cringing. I'm like, are you sure you don't want to give the money to someone to do it for you?
Hmm.
Because starting operations of those things are huge. People think it's just a
Yes.
small thing. I know people don't do anything. I will just start something small and they will just continue. It's not sustainable. If you don't have funding coming in every year and you're not measuring what you're doing,
Hmm.
the impact of what you're doing. So all those things you have to understand as well. And if you're not even interested in that, just find an organization that you can align with and that you can give your all to and say, okay, whenever I come to this particular country, or even if I'm not there, I can always send something. I help them, advise them, volunteer. And if your strength is in accounting, you can help them. So
Yeah.
who can I can check your books for you. So you can find different things that interest you. And there's so many things out there, Bolanle. I mean, the world is challenging. So many things are going wrong, so there's so much that we can do. But don't sit and think to yourself, oh, I'm overwhelmed and I cannot get involved in anything. You have to give back. You have to do something. And in doing, you're also showing the next generation that we can't leave it to the space like we saw it. Something
That's
must
right.
happen. We must do something different. And then, of course, what are the needs? The needs are enormous. So you know that it's necessary for you to do this thing. But just find the right path in getting it done. I know a lot of people always complain, I've gotten bonds, I've tried, I've given this. And that's why I say make sure you know someone. So if you are coming in, I mean, a lot of organizations call us. We're coming in. We want to work with this particular. Can you check them out for us? And we have done it. And we go and check, make sure that their books are right, things are going well. Or if you say I'm interested in children amputees or something, I'm just looking
Hmm.
for something that is far that people say nobody knows anything about. We can find organizations that are doing just that and link you with the right ones. So people do these things in different countries. So don't come in blindly, but I want to almost shout it. You just have to do. You have to give.
Yes.
You have to help. One way, even if it's not money, your resources, your time. I know some people tell me, Bolani, I can only give 1 hour of my time in a quarter. So find me someone that I can consult with for 1 hour in a quarter. And we're always so excited. Oh, please, we have this organization. Please, can you talk to them for us? And they're willing to do that. So you can do anything, but don't just sit down in the backbone and think to yourself that everything is fine. Let me leave those people alone. They will be okay.
No,
we
no.
all have to we all have to get involved one way or the other.
Yes, yes. I 100% I agree with that. I think there is opportunity always, always to create time. I think when you give back, it also just pulls you out of your own world. It helps you see whether or not you're in, whether or not it's even in nonprofit, even in your organization. Let's say you work for
Exactly.
profit. There are
Exactly.
ways in which you can help people. So I'll give an example also. At our organization, we have some of our employees who help architects and interior designers who are trying to take their tests. They create like
Oh,
study
nice.
groups, right? So people
Okay.
always think, oh, sometimes it is, oh, I have to go plug into a huge nonprofit or solve a
No, not
big. No,
yes.
but there are other ways in which you can challenge yourself in the sense
Yeah.
of what are my skill sets? How can I help? Maybe it's within your organization, maybe it's outside, but there's
Yeah.
always a
There's
way.
always something.
There's
Yes.
always a way to plug. So,
Always.
guys, don't wait. Remember, this is the D in the book, in the bold framework. Don't wait. Do it now, right? So,
Do
if
it
you
now.
do it now, do it now. Okay, we're doing amazing on time. So, I love this. I have maybe just two more questions, and then we'll wrap up. So, I really appreciate you carving the time out. Okay, so the next question I have, right? I talk about the reciprocity of generosity, right? Giving and
Mm,
receiving will help build support systems. You've already
yeah.
hinted to this, and they will make sure, like it's going to make sure that we thrive as we're living
Yeah.
professionally, personally. You will thrive; it's guaranteed, right? So, how has
Yeah.
participating in shaping future leaders impacted you and your own work? Because so many leaders have come have you've seen so many of us start off
Mm.
our careers and now, possibly and now are in our own leadership positions. But how has it impacted you?
I mean, Bolanle, I won't trade it for anything. I mean, it's something that I've totally enjoyed over the years. And I mean, you said generosity unlocks possibilities. That unlocks every. I tell people that there's no sector I go into I don't know people, because
Mm.
I've helped people over the years. In fact, at Wimby's last week, I was sitting there. Someone came to meet me. Said, "I don't know if you remember me 10 years ago. I was at Wimby's. I came in, sitting at the corner, and you came up to say hello to me, and then you told me something, and I was able to link up with somebody else. I couldn't even remember the person." But
Wow.
right there, I just took her because she was complaining about, oh, she was trying to do. I said, "There's somebody here. This is exactly what they do. Let me take you." And I linked her with the person. I said she's worked with the person now for the last 10 years. Her business has grown. So things that you might not even remember that you've done, you're open to it. It has helped me build a strong network. And then she was telling me that somebody else came to me and she did exactly the same thing for the person. And she told the person that this person is the one that helped me last time. So I've done it for you, go and do it for someone else.
Mm.
So it's a ripple effect. And
Yes.
it helps to build your network. It helps to build your own value as well as a human being. And I've enjoyed the benefit of giving and helping and advising, and someone calling me and say, "Oh, I want your advice for something," and I'm willing to go the extra mile. I feel I'm a bridge. I feel it's something that
Mm.
is a blessing that has been given to me. I feel that some things I do not because it's not for me. I talk to other people because I know somebody's going to ask me in the next few weeks. I'm
Mm.
trying to meet someone here. Do you know the person? So you just have to consciously do it. You have to consciously say, how do I my day to day? How do I mentor people? How do I connect with them? How do I coach? How do I pull someone else up? Because in pulling up, it might not be you directly that they're helping, but if they pull somebody else up,
Mm.
then all of us are, we're all moving up together. When everyone is succeeding, it's more difficult for us to have everybody complaining about the same thing over and over again, and
Mhm.
stuff like that. So, I come from a family that has always given anyway. One way or the other, we were built that way. And Nigerians have always been that kind of way. Those kind of people, when something goes wrong, everybody comes together to
Everybody
help
comes
you.
together.
So, but I've done it formally and informally, structured wise in terms of mentoring in a very structured way. I've done the informal of it, but I must tell you, Bolani, it is something that has impacted me completely. I've called people to ask for things because I mean they'll tell me, you helped me like 10 years ago to do something, or 15 years ago. You don't remember? I said, no, it's okay. Tell me what do you want me to do for
Mhm.
you now? I will do it for you. So it's so easy for me to, and I don't do believing that I'm going to get something back. I just do what I
Yes.
have to do.
Yeah.
But it
It's
always
hard to
comes back.
work.
Yes, it always comes back to you, and one way or the other, it's very helpful. And I also feel that you can't have all this, everything, the gifts that you have been given, the wealth of knowledge, and not share with other people.
Mhm.
And the ability to open doors, the ability to create tables for people, to bring in chairs to the table and say, let all of us sit down at the table and have a conversation. You can't have all those things and not do for others. 'Cause what's the point? And nobody knows how long we're going to live for. So yes, the career, building your career is great. We keep on building and we keep on succeeding. But there's also something else that comes with it as well, where the person as a human being says to himself, what else can I do in this world? And this all the blessings I've been given. And how do I go out there and be bold about those blessings I've been given? And use them to make other people bold as well and to build other people. So we all have to be that bridge and just make sure that that bridge is built and we can all work through it and stuff like that. So I mean, I mean, you just have to spend time to do that. I like people anyway, so it's not too difficult for me.
Yes, yes. Oh my goodness. This is so, so good. I think, I was going to ask you a question around what would be your challenge to firm leaders, company leaders when it comes to generosity. But you've kind of hinted to it. You've told them what the benefits would be for them, right? But if you were to challenge a leader who is like, oh, this, yes, it's generous, but we're in the business of making money. We need to be just profitable. If we were going to challenge leaders going into the new year or going into a new season to start thinking about
Mm.
generosity differently, how would you challenge them? What is the challenge that you're giving to them today?
I think for me, You're not a leader by chance. It's something that's and this is across the world. It doesn't have anything to do
Yeah.
with yeah, it's across the world, and that's generosity is not really about a lot of people think, oh, generous, I'm dashing somebody money or somebody needs something. It's also about the state of mind. It's about the state of the organization. When an organization is generous, when an organization is willing to do, the organization prospers. It just prospers one way or the other. It prospers because you see, people speak good into the organization. People, that organization, they are very, very good. And when I talk about generosity, it doesn't even always have to be outside of the organization. You might generous to your staff, to your people that you work with, and always thinking to yourself, what more can we do for them to make them comfortable as individuals, to make them find themselves. Because I'm there in the office not only because I want to earn a living, I want to find myself. And when you're opened as an organization to say, let's do something more, to make sure that people are comfortable within themselves, they can grow, they can build themselves as individuals. Even when they leave you, that thing, they'll always talk about the organization. They'll always speak good. When people talk about, they say, if you work there, you'll be fine because all of them, they have a general spirit. They might. I'm not talking about firm. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
leadership is firmness. All those things are great, and you have to do them. But I'm talking about a general spirit. When you're thinking, you're looking at, and empathy. I mean, we all went through COVID. We're all sitting at home, so we know how bad things can get. So why do we? I mean, why won't you have an empathetic spirit towards someone, and talk and say, okay, the women in the organization, what do we do better for them? And if we're not doing this way, what can we do to change them? If they're having babies, what can we do to make them more comfortable to start a family? How can we work in an organization where people don't even care if the women they have children and they can't go home to do anything, I mean, it doesn't make any sense at all. You have to open your mind to say, what do we do? And you're comfortable because you're a leader and say, oh, everybody should just work. We don't really, that's generosity of spirit, where you can put yourself in that person's shoes and say, what do we do different? Even if it's just a small creche or a breastfeeding room that we can help them to come up with. I'll work from home today because your son is at home, and not feel to yourself that the person is taking the piss.
Yeah.
All those little things, and when you look at all the different laws in different countries, they're just outstanding. I mean, why will you do only a 1 month maternity leave for a woman? It makes no sense. Who You have a baby in a month, you're back in the office. It doesn't work. And that's why you find out in Europe, people are more willing to go back to work because they have 6 months and
Mm-hmm.
they are very excited. They love their companies. They don't leave.
Mm-hmm.
So they are there for
It
years.
helps with
So
retention. Yeah,
yes,
it
yes,
definitely helps with retention.
it helps with everything. They're willing to give everything to the organization. So that's what I mean by generosity of spirit as well. So it's not only going out to do things. I think it's always, oh, let's go and help the poor. Help the
Hmm.
poor in your organization first.
That's right.
And when I mean poor, poor in spirits, when they are
Yep.
so upset about how they feel, things are not going well with them, help them first, and then you can go out and do the others. Do the internal first, and be empathetic. And as a leader, once you do that, then you see that generosity comes back to you as well.
Ooh,
Mm.
fire, fire, fire. I love it. Okay, so this has been really, really good. I'm gonna ask you one question. It's a fill in the blank. Actually, it's two. It's two. I've been doing two. It's a fill in the blank, and then after that, of course, you let us know how we can connect with you, how we can learn more about your work, and I'm just again once more really appreciative of you spending the time. Okay, so Osayi is generous when.
Oh gosh. I'm generous when I think I'm just generous when I see people. It doesn't have anything to do with when I see someone, and my heart opens up to the person, regardless of if you're in a good place or in a bad place. It doesn't really matter to me. And yeah, that's it. When I see people, yeah,
Yes, and Osayi is building boldly when.
day by day, day by day. It's
Yes.
not it's not a quick race. It's a journey. It's almost like it's a marathon, and
Yes.
you fall back a few times, but you just realize that boldly is an everyday thing, and it can be in different ways. So just keep on doing it day by day. It's a day by day lesson for me. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect.
Mm.
So please tell us where we can connect with you, how we can learn more about what you're doing.
Oh, yay! Art Foundation. So it's called
Yes.
Aspire Coronation Trust Foundation. What we do, we work across Africa in health, in environment, leadership, and enterprise. And we're funders. So one of the issues we had was that we realized that a lot of funding that was done in Africa was done from outside of the country. Nothing wrong with that, because everybody needs, all these things have to come together as a synergy. So we wanted to start an indigenous grant making organization because we understood what the communities were dealing with. But not only in terms of funding, we also do a lot of capacity building as well. We have volunteers that go into the organizations because we also want to build sustainable businesses as well. So we're checking their books, making sure HR is fine, helping people build sustainable, because we know that after a while they're going to go past us, because our grants are for community based, yes, and we want them to be ready for it. I just believe to myself that it's a business that you don't want to invest in and lose money. So I want people that in another 20 years we can always look back and say we worked with them and they're still standing. So that's what we've done over the years. So we're working with about 90 organizations across Africa. I mean, all the states in Nigeria and in 8 other countries in Africa. So we're always looking for people that are willing to do any volunteer with us, work with us, or if you have any linkages with someone that wants to come in and give something to any program in Nigeria or in other African countries, and that we can link you with those people as well. But I totally enjoy what I do, and it's because you when you go into the communities, Bolanle, you see people that have been doing some work for 15, 20, 30 years and just doing it steadily, not believing that anybody's going to notice them or come and help them to do it. Then you know that we have good people,
Yeah.
great people, great people. And I've been to practically, I think I've been to every state in Nigeria. I've visited all of them, and you see, and people are we have a challenge. We want to fix it. They don't know
Yeah.
how best to do it. So we will now come in and help them structure it and make sure that we can also measure the impact of what they're doing, and we can help that community even grow further as well. And it's been a very, very interesting journey. And also, this is our 5th year. We just also wrote some books on the non-profit world, and just because people have been asking us, how do we start? So it's very, very simple, and it's an easy read. Currently, we're sold out, but it's going to be on Amazon in the next few days. And so if you want to come in and you want something that helps you in Africa, that's also very good. But anybody can reach out to us. So it's Art Foundation. If you Google us, you can always just send a message in and someone will definitely get back to you. And we have all the social media handles as well. We're on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, everywhere.
Everywhere, everywhere,
Everywhere you go.
everywhere. Oh, thank you so much. This
Oh, you're
was
welcome.
so good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Guys, please connect with ACT Foundation, connect with Osayi. She is incredible. Follow her also everywhere. She's not plugging herself, so me, I'm plugging her. Follow her everywhere. She shares inspirational quotes. She shares tips on her LinkedIn. So please connect with her. One more time, we are celebrating Build Boldly
Build
turning one.
boldly.
I always say this at the end: buy one, buy 10, buy a bunch for your organizations. I really believe that everyone needs to read this book. Thank you so much for making the time out.
Well
Guys, I
done,
hope you've
Bolanle.
enjoyed
Thank
it.
you.
Oh, thank you, sis. I
Thank
hope
you
you guys
so much.
enjoyed the conversation, and we will see you tomorrow.
All right.
Okay,
Bye, everyone.
bye.